A young loving mother just suddenly disappeared as days turned into weeks with no clue of her whereabouts. A race against time pursued, leaving her partner and family with worries and concerns. And with that being said, sit back and relax as we investigate deeper into the strange disappearance of Jody Meyers. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Wherever you may be in the world right now, hello, my name is Lloyd, and right now you're watching When Evil Follows.
While police are yet to speak publicly about the case, they did release a statement this afternoon. It said that while they do hold serious concerns for Jody's safety, they've also received information that she may want some time on her own and will make contact with family in the near future. Jody's sisters are worried she's come to some harm but are refusing to give up hope.
Hi, Jody. Thank you.
Jody, please come home. We miss you.
Jody Meyers' loving family described her as someone who loved her life and lived it to the fullest. She was always so positive and always smiling. 20-year-old Jody was a fierce, doting, loving mother to her baby boy, Elijah. Those that knew her said becoming a mum was the best thing to ever happen to her, and that her 2-year-old son was her whole world. Elijah's father, 29-year-old Neil Archer. He and Jody met in similar social circles and were engaged and lived together in Manham, South Australia. Just down the road from where they lived was Neil's mother, Margaret, and her husband, Lawrence. On August the 26th in the year of 2015, Jody and Neil were invited to Jody's stepfather's birthday party. Jody and Neil arrived at around 6:30 in the evening, and Jody spent time with her family, enjoying the barbecue, having a couple of drinks, pleasant conversations, and enjoying the company of others around the campfire. But Neil stayed in the car. In fact, he refused to engage in any of the celebrations or accept any of the food or drinks. He didn't engage in any of the conversations at all. He just sat in the car for almost 2 hours, just waiting for Jody. At around 8 o'clock in the evening, Jody joined Neil in the car and they both drove home together. However, just 2 days later, Lucy, Jody's mother, received a text message from Jody's phone. The message said that she'd left Neil and that she had gone to stay with a couple of friends for a while she sorts everything out. Strange though, because she didn't take Ija with her, and Lucy knew that Jody would never just up and go, leaving her baby boy behind. Worried and concerned, Lucy replied to the message, but she didn't get any response back. And so Lucy showed the text message to her eldest daughter, and her reaction was exactly the same as Lucy's, that this wasn't Jody texting, and so they both went straight to the police station with their concerns. Detectives in the team at the Major Crime Squad agreed and felt that it was highly unlikely that Jody would just up and leave, especially without her son. And as word began to spread about Jody's strange disappearance, her fiancé Neil and his mother Margaret, now full of worry, started to make a plea for her to come home.
Well, if she is listening, I just want her to know that we all do love her and miss her dearly, and we would really like her to come home. Me and her son really do want her to contact somebody or come home. I wouldn't be the man I was today if I hadn't met her, so she's made me grow up quite a fair bit.
Neil and his mother Margaret told police that they'd both seen Jody leaving in a red car with an unknown couple. They said they didn't know the couple, but they hoped that they would look after Jody while she took some space and time out for herself.
The people that were there that night in the red four-wheel drive have gone there obviously to pick her up, which it didn't take them too long to get there, so they can't live too far from Manham itself. But hopefully they're just helping her, like, pretty much in a sense hiding her away so she can sort herself out in a sense.
Local news outlets started circulating images of this red car in hopes that it would jog someone's memory.
Today, police released an image of a similar-looking vehicle, which 9 News understands has been provided to them by Mr Archer himself. It's believed he claims it's a very close likeness to the car that he saw, minus the black strip that can be seen there on the side. So police are calling for anyone who might have information about that red Nissan X-Trail to contact them via the Crime Stoppers number of 1800 333 000.
Good evening. Major crime detectives have joined the investigation into the disappearance of young mother Jody Meyers, who vanished from her Manham home 13 days ago. Late today, they interviewed her partner, who's told 9 News he hasn't seen her since the couple fought and she left with 2 strangers.
4 o'clock this afternoon, Neil Archer returns to Manham Police Station to give a second statement about the disappearance of his girlfriend. This time he was met by major crime detectives who were deployed from Adelaide this morning to retrace Jody Meyers' last known movements.
Fast forward 7 weeks, and still no sighting of or word from Jody. The police began conducting search efforts throughout the town and alongside the riverbank of the River Murray. But no clues turned up anywhere, and nothing came to light. However, a small glimmer of hope did arise when the police looked into Jody's bank account records and found that $250 had been withdrawn from her bank account at a nearby ATM machine. However, this $250 was the very last of Jody's savings. The money was withdrawn the same day Jody went missing, and it was the same situation with her phone. Because just hours after Jody went missing, her phone had suddenly been credited before the text message was sent to Jody's mum, Lucy. The police set about obtaining all of the footage they could find from that street to see if they could spot Jody. And while the police were working on this, Neil and Margaret were quickly becoming a regular feature on the local TV news reports. And it was around this time news reporters were starting to fire some tough questions at Neil.
So you're not a murderer, you're not a killer?
No, I'm not. I've never harmed anyone in that way, so I would never harm anyone in that way.
I would like Jody to at least contact somebody because this is getting really bad. We miss her. We want her to come home or at least contact someone, someone that's out there knows anything, to contact the police or Crime Stoppers. Her son needs her. He needs his mum. Sorry. She was like a daughter to me. We spoke about.
The more the pair spoke to the media and inserted themselves into the investigation, the more onlookers and concerned people started to question them. Jody's family also had their concerns about Neil from the very start of their relationship. They said he didn't fit in with the rest of the family and that he didn't make any efforts in doing so, and that he never came across as someone that was reliable and a stable presence in Jody's life. Jody's brother-in-law, Michael, he would go on to say that he was always a little off-centre from everyone and everything. Jody's mother Lucy was also very hesitant and concerned about the relationship from the very beginning. She said that she felt that Jody made out she was much more happier than what she actually was, especially to friends and family. At one point, Jody actually said that she could finally see what Neil was trying to do, which was to take her away from her family, as Neil's behaviour became more controlling and more manipulative. For example, he always had to have access to her Facebook account and would always stop her from going to see people without him. Neil simply had to know where Jody was and who she was with at all times. Another source of tension that came to light was Margaret Archer, Neil's mum. Margaret was a mother of 4 boys, and she raised her sons in Adelaide before moving to a housing estate in the small town of Manham, South Australia. Margaret adored her 4 sons, but Neil was always her favourite child. Now, as I mentioned, Neil lived with her in the family home until his mid-20s. That was until he met Jody. Margaret loved Neil and her grandson Elijah, but would often show little care for Jody. It would be often said that after enduring arguments with Neil, Margaret would often take Elijah into the house and lock Jody outside of the property, purposely to keep him from her. The relationship between Neil and Jody was becoming more and more toxic, and by the year of 2015, Jody confided in her family, and she said that she was finally ready and wanted to leave him. However, somehow, Neil caught wind of this and blamed Jody's family for getting involved in their relationship. Jody's brother-in-law Michael told Neil that if Jody wants to leave him, then he's got two choices: fight for her and try and work through it, or just let her walk away and let her live her life. Unbelievably, Neil turns to Michael emotionless and said, "I'll kill her before that happens." By mid-September, Neil Archer was officially named by police as a person of interest, and the police now had reason to believe that Jody had been met with foul play and was most likely deceased.
Family of missing man and woman Jody Meyers say they've been left devastated by the revelation police believe the young mother has been murdered. But they say they're determined to cling to hope until her fate is known for certain.
A family's most heart-wrenching fears confirmed.
Devastating. It's not something you want to hear. It's pretty emotional.
Detectives revealing they believe missing man and mother Jody Meyers has been murdered, yesterday declaring her disappearance a major crime.
It's very hard to hear, especially from police, although we've got our suspicions, but to hear it from police is very, very devastating and upsetting.
Quite shocking. I didn't think they'd do that so soon. Hopefully they'd keep looking for her as alive.
Once the CCTV footage near the ATM machine had been processed, the police could finally see exactly who it was withdrawing the money.
It's believed that vision has also been taken from an ATM in the main street where Jody's bank card was used one day after she vanished.
And yeah, lo and behold, guess who it was withdrawing the money? This is insane. No other than Margaret Archer. Yep. She was captured on CCTV withdrawing the $250. Here she is in all her glory, wearing a grey hoodie with dark trousers. And, oh look, there's Neil, wearing his baseball cap leant against the wall, waiting for his mum, whilst keeping an eye out down the street. Footage then picked up Neil and Margaret in a green Ford, driving down the road and parking outside an off-licence. Margaret enters the off-licence and bought a $10 credit voucher for a phone, and after that she left the shop and headed back to the car where she and Neil waited for around 10 minutes. Now it was around this time the text message that raised all of the red flags was sent from Jody's phone to her mother's. After the text message was sent, the pair drove down the street heading towards Margaret's house, and no doubt with the dead body of Jody inside the car boot. And just days after Jody was last seen, CCTV footage picked up Margaret at Bernie's warehouse, buying over 600 kilograms of concrete. She then paid the cashier with money taken from Jody's bank account. Lawrence, Margaret's husband, he had been away in Tunisia when Jody disappeared, and when he returned home, he was surprised to see that the shed floor had been newly concreted. Neil told him, "Hey, this is a Father's Day gift from me to you, Father." Yep. However, Lawrence knew that this was completely out of character and said that Neil just wasn't the type of guy to do something like that for anybody else. Lawrence innocently revealed all of this information to the police.
Good evening. Major crime detectives have made an arrest over the disappearance of man and mother Jody Meyers, who they fear has met with foul play. But the suspect has been charged with theft, not murder.
These are exclusive pictures of inside the Murray Bridge police station where Margaret Archer was arrested this afternoon. She emerged just before 3 o'clock with two detectives and her partner Laurie. What have you been charged with, Margaret?
Nothing. Innocent.
No comment.
Have they accused you of using Jody's ATM card? Did you use the ATM card?
No, I didn't.
Police think she did. They've charged the 55-year-old with using Jody Meyers' ATM card one day after the 20-year-old vanished. Mrs. Archer is the mother of Jody's boyfriend Neil Archer, who has been named as the only person of interest in her suspected murder. You seem very upset.
Yeah, well, I don't like being charged with something I haven't done.
With all the evidence now mounting up, and now with the police slowly moving in, it wasn't too long before Neil cracked under pressure Yeah, one day when Margaret was out the house, Neil decided it was time to confide in his brother, Aaron. Neil took his brother down into the laundry room of the house and bluntly said to Aaron, "I killed her," and then quickly went to leave. His brother stopped him in his tracks and demanded to know why he did it. Neil said he knew that Jody was about to leave him and take his son too. And again, after admitting this, he hastily tried to walk away. But Aaron still had zero intentions of letting him leave. Aaron then asked him, "How did you kill her?" Neil told him that he strangled her to death in their home before taking her dead body to his mother's house and burying her under the workshed. At this time, Aaron said that his eyes were pure black, like there was nothing there, and to be quite frank, it scared the shit out of him. Now, Aaron did insist to Neil that he should turn himself in, but when he didn't, Aaron decided to do it for him. And not before long, the police were at Margaret Archer's property and Neil Archer was charged with murder.
Good evening. A tragic end to the search for missing Mannum woman Jody Meyers, whose body has been found buried under a backyard shed. Her partner has been charged with her murder, the grim find made at his parents' home.
Jody Meyers' body was sadly discovered in a shallow grave under a concrete slab Neil had laid. And yet she was buried just metres away from where the pair were caught in the media begging for Jody's safe return home. Unbelievable. The pair of them this whole time, they knew where Jody's body was. And it was just less than 12 metres away over there, under the ground in that shed. It was also confirmed that Jody had been strangled with a hood cord from Neil's dark hoodie. What a scumbag. Margaret Archer was also later charged for helping Neil cover up this disgusting crime. Neil Archer eventually pleaded guilty to the murder of 20-year-old Jody Meyers, sparing her family the agony of sitting through a long, painful trial. Under state law, he faced a non-parole period of at least 18 years punishment. However, Judge Justice Trisha Kelly said that his actions were pure evil and completely unforgivable, and because of the seriousness of this offence, Neil Archer was handed a full life term of 22 years to serve behind bars without the possibility of parole for the murder of Jody Meyers. The following year, Margaret Archer pleaded guilty in the district court to one count of assisting an offender. She was sentenced to serve 6.5 years with a non-parole period of 4 years. However, her sentence was backdated to the first time she was taken into police custody in 2015, which means she was eligible for parole in 2019 and she was released in 2021. And on her release from prison, she was then deported to the UK and given a new identity. Why do we want her here? Despite the police and Jody's family's belief, Margaret still maintains that she had nothing to do with the murder itself, which I find almost impossible to believe. Elijah keeps a photograph of Jody with him all the time, so he can carry on sharing his life with his mum. Last Christmas, Elijah got a brand new bicycle, and so he took the photograph of his mother out to show her his new gift. He then sat the photo down on the table so she could watch him ride his brand new bike up and down the garden path. Hello there, and if you've enjoyed this video, then please go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And don't forget to hit the bell, that way you'll get notifications each and every time we upload a cool and interesting video, just like this one. So what do you think to this case? Margaret was given 6.5 years. She was in the car, she topped up Jody's phone, she withdrew the money, she bought the concrete. The body was hidden under her shed, technically, and she was given just 6 years? Anyway, let me know your thoughts about this case in the comment section below. And as always, stay safe, do look after yourself, and I'll see you again the next time when evil follows. Bye.